If you ever need to service your Mr. Hobby PS274, here's a quick guide on how to do so. I guess the first thing I'll remove is this little coupler on the bottom. Now this attaches to that black nylon hose in your box, and it's for canned air kits. So that will give me access to this little brass screw on the bottom, which just has two little notches to turn and loosen that with a maintenance tool. And that will release the spring and the plunger inside. Be careful when doing so, because as you can see, those parts can fall right out. A little shake and that plunger comes right out. And those are all the components of the air valve itself. Now it's a good time to remove that back handle. I'll take this fluid control knob off. If you're not sure exactly what that does, it'll control how far back I can pull that trigger. All the way in, I can't even move it at all. You can set that where you want, but for today, we're taking it all the way out. Remove that, now you can unscrew the handle. This will expose the needle chuck tightening screw and the needle. If you loosen that, you can go ahead and take the needle out. And that's screwed completely. That was a good example of why I like to have a cleaning mat or some type of terry cloth for any time parts want to try to take off on you. So the next thing I'm unscrewing here is the needle tensioning screw. There's a spring inside of here, so keep that in mind when loosening it. Seems like everything wanted to come with it today. So that's your tensioning screw for that spring, which is on your needle chuck. So remove that, and there's your needle chuck. Now you can go ahead and pull that trigger assembly out. And now I have access to that needle packing screw inside the body. Now if that fails on you, then you'll end up with paint on your trigger. That would be the main symptom of that packing screw. So just get a maintenance tool in there, give it a spin counterclockwise. I like to hold it down a little bit because I can usually catch the whole thing without it taking off on me. So there's that pack and seal screw. And now we can move on to the front end. I'll remove that lid. There's a little protective sleeve that came in the packaging. That first little bit is the crown protective cover over the air cap. It just unscrews easily, exposing the air cap. And then the nozzle. This is a screw-on type nozzle. So grab yourself a maintenance tool like so. Mr. Hobby has one that comes with this little tool, which allows you to not over torque it when removing it and putting it back on. And there's pretty much it. Pretty much all as far as it goes for the breakdown of the PS274. While I'm here with this tool, I would like to mention the other side of it is a deburring tool and more of an extractor, I would say. If you do break a nozzle off into the body, this will most likely be the tool for you to catch it and remove it. I'll make a short video with that too. So great little tool to have there. And now it's time to put it back together. If you don't do breakdowns and put togethers often, I do like to put them in some type of order. That way you're kind of a little bit familiar about where everything went. So since this is on my little screwdriver here, I'll go ahead and put that back into the body while the front end is off, and I'll tell you why in a second. If you over tighten this screw too much, then the needle won't move freely, but you have to have enough tension on there where it does block the paint flow. So you want to feel a little bit of tension and pressure when you move the needle, and you also want to make sure that it doesn't fall out on its own. If it does, then it's a little bit too loose. This feels pretty good, so I'll go ahead and move on to the front end. I'll take my nozzle and put it back in my tool. They're all provided with the wrench in the box, but I highly recommend get some type of nozzle tool. Just give that a counterclockwise spin till you feel it kind of grab a little bit, and now you can tighten it back up. gave you a little bit of trouble, so you want to go easy and lightly with that. Once you feel it tight, that's about all as far as you need to go. You don't need to overdo it. Now I can put my air cap back on and that protective crown cover. I guess I'll go ahead and put the air valve components back in. Now you want to grab the plunger with the O-ring little washer side facing towards the top, which usually ends up being the smaller part of that plunger. So just press that inside and put that spring over the bottom of that plunger. And now put the screw back onto your tool. Try to catch it around that hole of that plunger. Counterclockwise spin, you'll feel the catch, and then just screw it on till it's tight. And that's pretty much it. Now seems like a good time to put the trigger back in. Do take note there is an indentation on the bottom of this trigger, and you want to face that towards the back of the body. That way it has that full range of motion when it touches down on the body and gives you that extra little bit of play. Now you have to get that shaft in there, which can be tricky sometimes. I'm left-handed, so it's easier for me to do it like that. See, with that indentation I was referring to, it gives it that full range there. Now I can put that needle chuck back in with the smaller part facing towards the top and just rest it on the back of that trigger. Now the needle spring back over that needle chuck and that tension tightening screw. Depending where you set this will determine how much pressure there will be on that pullback of that trigger. So you can dial it all the way in or loosen it up some. Now I like to put the needle chuck screw on, but not completely. Just enough for it to catch. That way I have a good guide to put my needle back in. Push that all the way in till you feel it touch the end of the nozzle and tighten it up. Give that trigger a little pull, make sure everything's flowing freely, and now you can put the back handle back on. Lock that in place, and you just have your fluid control knob, the lid, and that valve that it originally had on there. So I hope that helped and was a good guide for your breakdown and put together of the PS274.